The gym manager stood near the weight room entrance, watching Jennifer Park push a mop across the rubber floor, collecting discarded towels and wiping down equipment. "We need to talk about the cleaning schedule. The early morning members are complaining about the locker rooms again." He spoke without looking at her, his tone carrying the particular impatience people reserve for service workers they consider beneath their notice. Jennifer continued mopping, her movements steady and efficient, exactly as everyone expected from the 48-year-old woman who'd been cleaning Elite Fitness for 5 years. She wore the standard cleaning uniform, her dark hair pulled back in a practical ponytail, comfortable shoes for being on her feet all day. She spoke quietly when spoken to. She cleaned equipment, emptied trash, stayed invisible. She was exactly what people expected a gym janitor to be. Old, slow, probably never worked out a day in her life, barely worth the $14 an hour they paid her. What nobody at Elite Fitness knew was that Jennifer Park had once stood on an Olympic podium with a gold medal around her neck, had coached national teams to international victories, had transformed athletic careers with training methods that were still being studied and taught today. Elite Fitness was a high-end training facility in the city, serving serious athletes, competitive bodybuilders, and wealthy executives who paid premium memberships. Jennifer had worked there for 5 years, arriving at 5 a.m. to clean before the morning rush, mopping floors, wiping down equipment, restocking towels, emptying trash. The trainers barely acknowledged her. The athletes treated her like furniture, leaving weights scattered, towels on the floor, assuming she'd clean up after them. The younger members would occasionally make comments just loud enough for her to hear. "Must be nice to work somewhere you'd never actually use the equipment," or "Bet she's never run a mile in her life." Jennifer said nothing, cleaned her areas, and went home to her small apartment where photographs from another life sat in boxes she rarely opened. What nobody knew was that Jennifer Park had been one of the most dominant middle-distance runners of her generation. She'd won Olympic gold in the 1,500 meters in 2000, set world records that stood for 8 years, competed at a level most athletes could only dream of reaching. After retiring from competition, she'd become a coach, not just any coach, but one who specialized in biomechanics and injury prevention, who understood the science of athletic performance at a level that made her sought after by national teams and elite training programs. She'd coached athletes who went on to win their own Olympic medals. She'd developed training protocols that revolutionized how middle-distance runners approach their sport. She'd been profiled in sports magazines, invited to speak at coaching conferences, respected by everyone in the track and field world. And then her mother had been diagnosed with ALS. The progression had been devastating. 18 months from diagnosis to complete immobility, needing round-the-clock care that insurance barely covered. Jennifer had liquidated everything to pay for it, her savings, her retirement accounts, eventually selling her small house. She'd moved back to her childhood apartment to care for her mother full-time, taking the first job she could find with hours flexible enough to manage caregiving. A cleaning position at a gym where nobody would recognize her name or face, where she could be invisible and focus on the only thing that mattered. Her mother had passed away 2 years ago, but by then, Jennifer had been cleaning gyms for 3 years, had gotten used to being invisible, wasn't ready to return to a world where people had expectations and memories of who she used to be. Now, while the manager complained about locker room cleaning schedules, Jennifer made a decision. She could nod, apologize, adjust her schedule, continue being invisible. Or she could acknowledge what she was watching unfold in the training area behind him. Elite Fitness's star athlete, Marcus Webb, a 22-year-old sprinter being trained for Olympic trials, performing squats with forms so dangerously incorrect that Jennifer could see the injury coming like watching a car crash in slow motion. His trainer, a muscular guy in his 30s with more certifications than actual knowledge, was encouraging him to go heavier, despite the fact that Marcus's knee was tracking inward, his back was rounding, and his hip mobility was so compromised that he was compensating in ways that would blow out his ACL within a month if someone didn't intervene. Jennifer had seen this exact scenario dozens of times in her coaching career. She knew how it would end. The manager was still talking about locker room schedules when Jennifer interrupted him. Marcus is going to destroy his knee if someone doesn't fix his form. The manager stopped mid-sentence. What? Your sprinter, Marcus Webb. His squat form is going to cause a catastrophic knee injury, probably ACL, possibly meniscus damage. The way he's compensating for poor hip mobility and the medial knee collapse on the descent, he's got maybe a month before something tears. She set down her mop. Someone needs to stop him before he ends his career. The manager stared at her like she'd suddenly started speaking another language. Jennifer, you're a janitor. You don't know anything about athletic training. I know exactly what I'm looking at, Jennifer said quietly, and I know that kid has Olympic potential that's about to be destroyed by a trainer who doesn't understand biomechanics. She walked past the manager toward the training area. Marcus was setting up for another set, loading more weight onto the bar. His trainer was filming him for social media, completely missing the dangerous compensation patterns. Jennifer approached directly. Stop. Don't do that set. Marcus looked at her confused. His trainer stepped between them, annoyed. Excuse me, we're in the middle of a training session. You can clean around us. I'm not here to clean, Jennifer said. I'm here to tell you that your athlete is about to blow out his knee because you don't know what you're doing, and I'm not going to watch someone with his potential destroy his career because you're too arrogant to see the problem right in front of you. The trainer's face went red. Lady, I'm a certified strength coach with a degree in exercise science. I think I know more about training athletes than a janitor who... My name is Jennifer Park, she interrupted, her voice taking on an authority she hadn't used in years. I won Olympic gold in the 1500 meters in Sydney in 2000. I set 3 world records. I spent 12 years as a biomechanics coach for the U.S. national track team. I've trained 7 athletes who went on to win Olympic medals. And I'm telling you that your athlete's knee is tracking medially on the descent. His hip flexors are so tight he's compensating with lumbar flexion, and his ankle mobility is compromised to the point where he's shifting load distribution in ways that will catastrophically damage his ACL within the next month if you don't fix it immediately. The silence was absolute. Marcus's trainer's mouth was open. Marcus himself had pulled out his phone and was already Googling her name. The gym manager had followed her over and was standing behind them, looking confused. You won Olympic gold? Marcus said, staring at his phone screen, showing Jennifer on a podium, 20 years younger, medal around her neck. Holy shit, you're the Jennifer Park. My high school coach used to show us videos of your races. He said you had the most efficient stride mechanics he'd ever seen. Had, Jennifer said. Past tense. I haven't competed in 20 years, but I spent 12 years after that coaching athletes at the highest levels of the sport, and I know dangerous movement patterns when I see them. Your knee is collapsing inward because your hip abductors are weak relative to your adductors. You're compensating for limited ankle dorsiflexion, and your trainer is having you add weight when you should be stripping the bar down and rebuilding the movement pattern from scratch. She looked at the trainer. You're not a bad person. You're just in over your head. This kid needs someone who understands elite-level biomechanics, not just general strength training. The trainer looked like he wanted to argue, but was saved by Marcus. Will you coach me? Marcus asked directly. I'm trying to make Olympic trials in 8 months. My current training program isn't working. I keep getting small injuries, nothing major but enough to disrupt training. And now you're telling me I'm about to destroy my knee. Will you help me? Jennifer hesitated. She thought about her mother, about the choice she'd made to walk away from coaching. She thought about invisibility versus visibility, about whether hiding your capabilities protected you or just meant watching preventable disasters unfold. She thought about this kid who had real talent and deserved better than what he was getting. I'll assess you, she said finally. Full biomechanical analysis. If I think you can make trials with proper training, I'll help you. But I'm not doing this halfway. If I coach you, you do exactly what I say, when I say it, how I say it. No ego, no shortcuts, no social media nonsense, just work. Marcus agreed immediately. Within a week, Jennifer had conducted a complete analysis of his movement patterns, identified 6 major biomechanical issues that were limiting his performance and creating injury risk, and designed a comprehensive training program that addressed each one systematically. Within 2 weeks, she'd restructured his entire approach, not just strength work, but mobility, technique, recovery protocols, nutrition, mental preparation. Within a month, Marcus's sprint times had improved by 0.2 of a second, an enormous improvement at elite levels, and all his chronic minor injuries had resolved. Within 3 months, he qualified for Olympic trials. The gym manager, recognizing what was happening, had quietly offered Jennifer a position as head of athletic performance at triple her cleaning salary. She'd accepted, but insisted on keeping the early morning shift. She liked the quiet, the routine, the feeling of starting each day with simple physical work before the complexity of coaching. 6 months later, Marcus made the Olympic team, not as a favorite, but as a legitimate contender who'd improved more in 6 months than most athletes improve in years. Sports journalists started asking about his training, about who was coaching him. When Jennifer's name came up, the track and field world exploded with recognition. Jennifer Park is coaching again? The woman who disappeared after her mother's illness was suddenly back, working out of a commercial gym, transforming careers. Former colleagues reached out, national team coaches called, other athletes wanted her expertise. Jennifer took selective clients, only athletes she believed in, only situations where she could make real impact. She refused to work with anyone who wasn't willing to completely commit to the process. She turned down more offers than she accepted, and she kept her early morning cleaning shift at Elite Fitness, arriving at 5 a.m. to mop floors and wipe down equipment before anyone else arrived, because she'd learned that there was dignity in all work, that the best coaches understood physical labor, and that starting your day with simple tasks kept you grounded when the rest of your life got complicated. The transformation wasn't about returning to her former glory or reclaiming some lost identity. It was about understanding that you didn't have to choose between being the invisible gym cleaner and being the Olympic coach. You could be both. You could mop floors at 5 a.m. and revolutionize an athlete's biomechanics at 6 a.m. You could find satisfaction in simple work and complexity in elite performance coaching. The difference was choice, authenticity, and the knowledge that hiding your capabilities didn't protect you from pain. It just meant watching preventable disasters unfold while you stayed silent. Jennifer had spent 5 years being invisible, believing that was safer than being seen, easier than explaining where she'd been and why she'd disappeared. Now she'd learned that visibility didn't mean returning to who she used to be. It just meant being honest about all the parts of who she was, the cleaner and the coach, the Olympic champion, and the woman who'd chosen her mother over her career, the person who understood both the value of elite performance and the dignity of mopping floors before sunrise. Both were real. Both mattered. And both could exist in the same person, in the same gym, starting each morning with the same simple work that reminded her where real strength came from. If you enjoyed this story of hidden brilliance and the power of underestimated expertise, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and smash that like button for more powerful stories of people who proved that age is just a number and that the most dangerous capabilities often hide behind the most ordinary appearances. What would you do? Stay silent and protect your peace, or reveal yourself to save people who disrespected you? Drop your thoughts below. Where are you watching from? Let us know your country in the comments. We love hearing from our amazing community around the world.